Started. We've moved the microphone over to the chair, and I have this other chair here that I sit on sometimes because it crops my head out if I stand up to it all the time, and I'm kind of stuck in between the two. We've a whole room, but I'm a bit trapped. And I was trying to move this one out of the way and thinking I could squeeze over a bit, but now my ankle's getting sore. Because I have to keep talking into the mic or I get in trouble. That's better. We can't even go to if we break it, we can't get them fixed. You have to send them away, and who's even working now? They're my new tunes. I was outside, I was doing the NHS clap there because I'm very, very sound. And I was outside, and like there was definitely the first night I was out and we were doing the NHS. It wasn't even the first night, the first few nights we went out and done it. There was loads of people out with the pots and pans, really going for it, and man, I tell you what, Morgan, they're fucking dying off out there now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's about 6 people out in all of Islington left, you know. Yeah, it was pretty poor. I was thinking when I was out there, and this is a typical me thought, that instead of clapping for the NHS, do you think they're out there kind of telling you clap for the NHS just so that some people start getting a little bit of exercise, so maybe not as many people need the NHS?
Yeah, I think you've cracked it there. That is the next slogan from Boris.
Yeah, go out and do 10 press-ups for the NHS. Yeah, I think they'll probably keep going for another while. Like, they'll keep doing it for a good while. I wonder when it'll stop, because no one will say stop it, and it'll kind of just die away. And Christmas, I'm going to be out there, man. I'm going to be fucking... going to be going for it. I really liked... we had 2 really good shows this week. We had Lucilla on at the start of the week, really pumping the views for us online, making us look like total legends. She's very popular on the internet, so thanks for coming on, Lucilla. You'll be on all the time. That's great. Then yesterday we done the sketch yesterday, and it was like a half hour long. It's still up there if you want to check it out. It's pretty freaky. It's very kind of League of Gentlemen and everything like that. But it's even weirder. It's like it doesn't have proper line through it at all. Like, it's very, very strange, but very funny. There's one bit where a guy slaps the dude's face off. Brilliant. Yeah. Now tonight what we're doing is we've Anton on. He's a mate of mine, and he produces a few different things. He's like video and does audio and all that, but he's here a good few times. He's done stuff with trigonometry, so we'll have a few clips of that to show them fairly soon, and we'll talk about him. But anytime he's over, nearly they often film here like maybe on they used to, I suppose, now and again on like a Wednesday and Thursday. But I'd just come back from the gym, or I used to just come back for yoga or something like that, and he'd be here just setting up, and I end up chatting him for about 20 minutes, and then he has to rush setting up at the end. So it'll be nice to kind of chill out and just chat to him for a bit normally. That'll be kind of cool. He's involved in a few different things, so I suppose, guys, you can kind of start getting the clips ready for the trigonometry stuff, the first 2. It'll kind of show you some type of work that he does. And if you have any questions for, like, there's people chatting already. If there's any questions for, say, a producer, often when people are on podcasts, they're actually the performer, or they're the person interviewing, or the me person on the podcast or something. But it's kind of nice to hear the other people who are behind. We'll have Morgan on next week. You'll be chatting next week, Morgan. You'll be my guest next week. I want to see people who are kind of behind it, who are doing the actual work, not like me, who just stands here and turns up just about on time. And to do it. So it's nice to hear the background of it. So if any of you guys, if you have any interest in how to take your podcast from just recording on a phone to like a slightly higher level up, or how to grow your numbers and stuff like that, definitely this is something to tune into for a little bit. And stick your questions in there. We'll be chatting to them afterwards. They're only 2 short little clips. One is about a minute long each or so, maybe a bit less. So we'll be chatting with Anton fairly soon. So guys, you can run the clips now, and we'll be back in about 2 minutes.
We live in a very, very unforgiving society, and some people talk about things like snowflakery and so on of the generation coming up, and I think that it's slightly unfair and unkind. If you live in a world where acting in the world can come back at you at any stage, and you never, ever have any mechanisms to be forgiven, you are going to fear everything because everything is so damn dangerous. Every word is undoable. Every action is undoable. And nobody wants to help you out. Nobody. And we all have a little bit of this, you know, when somebody errs and strays or does something terrible, we are inclined to forgive them if we already agree with them, if they are of our group or tribe, or if they are of our political view. China's celebrating, right? They're actually going to be really happy about Trump leaving office. Because at the end of the day, China's it's steeped in honor culture. There's this notion in Chinese culture about saving face. And Trump has no shame. And he really does not allow China to save face. He speaks ill of it. He basically really rankles China exactly where it hurts the most. And because he doesn't play by the rules and he's just abrasive. So he really annoys China on a level that's almost visceral, culturally.
Cool, nice one. How's it going? Can you hear me all right? Yeah?
I can hear you well, mate.
Cool, yeah, we're live now, so say hello to everybody.
Hello, everybody.
Yeah, that's cool.
Introduce yourselves one by one.
Yeah, that'd be quite good. They call message in. We'll get them all on next week.
Yeah. State your name and 3 things that you love about yourself.
Yeah. They probably will. They'll go through it. We love the Bill Murray sometimes. What are you drinking tonight?
I'm drinking a little bit of, in true, I live in Islington, so in true Islington middle class white liberal fashion, I'm drinking Prosecco.
Oh, lovely. Yes. It comes if you move into a new house here that costs over 1.2 million, it's on tap.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's like a WeWork in some of these houses around Islington.
Yeah, I was saying to the guys at the top of the show, just giving you a bit of an intro, I suppose. I came to know you from producing some of the stuff that comes out of the Bill Murray now and again, namely the trigonometry podcast and stuff like that. There's a few other bits and pieces that you were doing, but that's what you kind of describe your job as a whole, kind of audio and video production, and then you just have an interest in podcasts, and that's how you got involved with the guys, is it?
Do you know what? That's like I would take that as a description, but it's the other way around really. I'd shift the emphasis, and I'd shift the emphasis onto podcasts as opposed to the video and audio production. The video and audio production has sort of come along as a necessity in being able to do the podcast thing.
So you're just a big fan of podcasts, and you wanted to be involved in that world somehow. You just wanted to get involved in it, was it?
Essentially, yeah. To put it simply, for want of a better word, James. That's basically what's been going on.
Yeah. So when I was, it totally reminds me of myself, because I knew I just wanted to be involved. I loved comedians. I just wanted to be involved in being a stand-up or involved in comedy or doing that type of stuff. So that's kind of how I got here as well.
Because you're about the same age as me, aren't you?
I'm 57.
So am I.
Yeah, I told you, man.
Yeah, do you think we're more at risk than the younger generations?
No, Corona can't get through muscle, man. It can though.
But yeah, you are similar age to me, aren't you? You're what, 30, 31?
31 now, yeah.
Yeah, so am I.
Yeah.
And I came into doing this pretty late by like general standards, really. It was only like 3 years ago or so that I started my little foray into podcasting and making them myself. Like it was a proper like bedroom job, you know. Sounds seedy, but I don't mean it in that way. Did you
ever want to be like in front of the camera, in front of the mic when you were doing it? Was that how you started off, or it was always kind of with the eye of producing something great, you know?
No, well, I was in front. I was on the mic and I was in front of the camera to begin with, and that was sort of out of necessity as well, because someone needed to do it. Yeah. And I was at a stage where I was making them with my mates, and we were just making them for ourselves. And I was like, it was just one of those unspoken things, you know. like it was me who was doing it.
Mm-hmm.
But it was good. I enjoyed that, and like as you will have found out from this, speaking to people at length, you know, in conversation without any distractions is special. It's something like that you don't really get to experience much otherwise in this day and age, in this bloody day and age. So I started I started in front of the camera and in front of the mic to begin with. That was out of necessity, and I don't mind doing it at all. Like when you messaged me to do this, I was like, yeah, like that'll be fun. But I also appreciate that like as much as I might enjoy it, that there are people who are not only just built for it, but they build their lives around being the best conversationalist, host, comedian, just funny person as they can be, and they're the people that you want to be putting in front of the camera and the microphone, and letting them do their thing while you produce and put it together and help sort of mold it for them.
Yeah, there's totally. I only started learning, well, even before I started doing this, like just the skill of like the idea of being a good conversationalist. You know, like it was something where you thought, oh, you just talk to someone, you just talk, and you have fun or something like that. But like, you've definitely had the thing where you're at a family function or you're at a bar or you're sitting down with someone and they're not talking back to you, and you want to chat to them, you want to kind of open up the conversation, but it's impossible. Like, at least with the podcast or with the live stream like this, both people have agreed to talk for a while. You know?
Yeah. You've got me. What's it called? I've had to commit to conversation here, so you're not going to get any short answers from me.
No, you're kind
but
of.
You know, but I think like. And this must be similar for you, coming from where you're from. I mean, whereabouts in Ireland are you from in particular?
Right along the west coast, yeah.
Yeah, I love it round there. I used to go to Achill Island.
Yeah, it's the same county.
Yeah.
I live just a bit further inland from there.
In Mayo?
Yeah.
Anyway, what I was going to say was, I think coming from Liverpool and the people I'm surrounded by and like the prevailing culture that I've come up with, people are really good conversationalists. Like it's just what they do. People can just spark up conversations and I can have really interesting, funny, irreverent conversations, whatever fits best for that scenario. People can just do it, and I feel like I grew up with that a little bit. Would you say it's the same in Mayo?
Well, it would be the same with some people. Like I definitely know some of my uncle. Like to be one person in each family who's just absolutely not just hilarious, but they could just talk and do an enthralling story. Like my brother is really, really good at just telling stories and just chatting, having the crack. And then I'd be kind of the quieter one that's kind of in my head all the time. Except, I'm the one that goes up on stage and I can really smash a conversation for 10, 20 minutes. But my brother could talk all day. Like I nearly have a chat with him maybe every couple of weeks, and he talks to me for about half hour on the phone, just talking about what he's up to, and it's just constantly hilarious. Like I keep saying to him, oh, I'd love to get him up on stage, or I'd love him to get to do something like that, and he was never any interest. But when I mentioned I was doing the live stream or something like this, I could see a glint where he'd be like, all right, I just have to chat for a while. Oh, I can do that. So if I get him on someday, that'll be fun, like just to see what he's like.
So he's agreed.
No, he hasn't agreed. He really shuns the idea of going up on stage or looking for attention or doing that type of thing, you know. Which is strange because he loves attention himself, but
yeah, it's weird, isn't it? It's weird, like how you often get that, like the quieter, more introverted one would be more likely to be, for instance, the comedian or whatever, and the person who's the life and soul, you know, is less likely. It's weird, isn't it? I wonder what that's all about.
Well, I do think it's weird, but obviously I would have thought about it because that was like myself sometimes. But you do think if you're the quiet, introverted one, you're not getting any attention. Like you need a mic and you need a light on you before you can have people look at you. Like you can't command a room without that almost. Whereas like the other people grew up and they're always able to chat and have fun and be themselves. That the idea of going up and doing that more so, they're like, well, I could just be funny all the time. Like people said that stand up never really took off in Ireland. There's some clubs in the big cities and stuff, but it never really took off. And the reason they reckon is because if you're at the bar and someone set up in the corner and started doing a stand up show, there'd be someone funnier just standing at the bar, just commenting on you, like, you know. So it never really didn't really happen, like. But
that's interesting. I didn't know about that.
Yeah.
So stand up isn't really a thing in Ireland.
Oh, it is. Yeah, it's definitely a thing. Like in the cities, there's a couple of clubs and things like that, but there's no such thing as like in the golf club, like you know how all around London you have like the cricket clubs, and they do like pro shows on it, like once a month or something like that. Or there might be there'd be a bridge club, and they get a comedian or group of comedians in every 6 months for a show. Like there's none of that in Ireland. Everyone's just like you go drinking, or there's golf clubs, but there's never a comedian after it or anything like that. It's very much kind of an English thing to go into a room and sit down and have some organised fun, you know.
Yeah.
That's
But I love it. When I was at the time that I've spent in Achill, and then also in like Westport and Galway, which you might go to on the way to there. Like the feeling in the pub is just, it's like nothing. It's literally it's world class. Like you're sitting in a pub and someone will start singing, and somebody else starts singing, and someone starts telling a joke. Everyone in the pub's listening to the joke. Like that. It's the stuff of Netflix producers fucking wet dreams, isn't it?
I think you might hit on a few fucking sweet pubs, because there's a lot of pubs where there's just a lot of fighting all the time. You know, it's different type of pub. But we were probably at the Tourist. They were probably the drinks were probably twice the price, and we didn't realise. Yeah, they were just putting on a show for you. But, No, you're making me think a bit like when I lived in Galway for years, and whenever I go back, if you do go into the pubs, like it's just instantly so friendly, and I suppose it's just hearing my home kind of accent again. It's very nostalgic to kind of go back and hear it.
Yeah,
and it's just
I get that.
Instantly in a good mood. And it's like home. Everyone here is my friend. You know, they're not like they couldn't give a fuck, but it's still nice to go back and see it. Have you been back? When was the last time you've just been down locked down in London for the past few weeks? I take it, yeah.
I've been in London since the lockdown. It's ironic as well, because one of my sort of New Year's resolutions was, so last year 2019 I went back to Liverpool, I think including Christmas on either side, so Christmas and New Year on either side, so that's 2 times already. I went back 4 times, so we only really went back twice all year last year. And like I saw my nan, both of my nans, once that whole year 2019, and that's just, as you know, that's just not good enough, is it? So my big resolution was to 2020 go back to Liverpool more often, and stay in my mum's and go and see everyone and everything, and like it's just completely gone to shit, hasn't it, this year?
Yeah, this year has totally gone to shit.
Yeah. I appreciate people have got bigger problems on the plate than that, but that's one of my big issues.
No, that's one of the biggest ones I've heard, man. Like, you know, I don't really have my ear to the ground or anything, but it's tough going.
Yeah.
I was back. I was trying to go back like last year. I suppose everyone's kind of the same. Maybe it's just the age we're at a little bit as well, where you think you should be getting back more, or your parents want you to be back more a little bit and stuff like that. But it got so bad last year that my parents had booked a flight to come over and see me in April, and they were planning to come over. They stayed at the Bill Murray like last year, and they're going to come over again, because they just said, all right. They don't want to force me to go back too much, I suppose, but they were coming over. But that got cancelled. I haven't seen them since Christmas. I was meant to see them like the week after lockdown, and like I'd left it late enough now, but this is the longest I've never seen them for, you know.
Yeah. How are they getting on?
It's strange, like, 'cause I was chatting to Mam last week, and she was fairly.
So they're in Mayo. They're in Mayo, right?
Yeah, they live in the countryside in Mayo, and there was a bit where they were like, you know, Mam is very much. She's kind of. she was very upbeat all the time. She's getting on with it and everything like that. But when I was chatting to her last week, she did kind of drop in that her and Dad were feeling very isolated. And like, you know, fair enough, you're meant to be isolating at the moment, but you shouldn't feel it too much, like, you know.
It's the name of the game.
Yeah, but I set up some video calls then, like, and it's nice. It's nice when once they kind of see people. They were like, oh, what do we have to do for the video call? And like, we're already in a WhatsApp group, so you just click video on it, and then you're there, like, you know.
Oh, so is that how you've done it? Through WhatsApp groups?
Yeah, just WhatsApp groups. It was just on the phone.
That's interesting. Like. How many people can you get on them?
Well, there's only 5 of us in the family, so
Okay,
it was handy enough. Like, but I don't know how many people you can get on a WhatsApp video call.
Yeah.
Definitely 4 anyway. That's for sure.
But there's something to be said for, because my nan, I've got 2 nans. One, they're both in Liverpool, but one's Cypriot, Greek Cypriot. She spends half the year in Cyprus when obviously things are normal. And then I've got a Scouse nan. So I've got these soon. It's amazing. I've got one who's like really Greek traditionalist, like super holy. And then another one who's like just Scouse. He's just a Scouse nan. which is brilliant. Anyway, the Scouse nan, she loves bingo. She's addicted to bingo. She goes to bingo at least 3 times a week, and if she only got there 3 times that week, she'd be a bit pissed off. She just tries to get there as much as she can. Anyway, obviously bingo isn't happening. So I was like, you know, if my nan can't go to the bingo, let's bring the bingo to her. So I set up like a Zoom call with some of my family, and we did a little bingo. But the bingo didn't really work, to be honest. But I did a quiz as well, and the quiz really worked. So then the next week, we did a quiz. This is every Sunday. Then a couple of other people joined from the family. Then the next week, a couple of other people joined from the wider family. Now there's like 20 odd people on this Zoom call every Sunday night, waiting for me to deliver like this like absolute bonanza of a quiz. I write the questions myself as well, because I actually enjoy that, but it's time consuming. So like my whole Sundays for the last 5 weeks have been writing quizzes for my family. And I think, what was it, 2 weeks ago, there was 30 questions in the quiz, and it was over. The quiz was over, and we announced the winner and that. And my nan was like, "Oh, when's the next? Like, is there another one?" So now it's expected like 50 questions minimum is the expectation.
Oh my god!
So that's the kind of that's the shit I've got myself into on quarantine. I'm locked into a Sunday night quiz with half of Liverpool joining in.
I was chatting to a few people, and they said their mum or their granny or their sister or something, they didn't realize it, but there was people all over the world who were like naturally quiz masters, and they never realized it until lockdown. Like, they absolutely love writing questions and running quizzes. There's loads of people that absolutely love it. Like, unfortunately, you're not one of them, but there's a lot of people out there.
Yeah. Have you ever heard of Bongo's Bingo?
No. How do you play?
So Bongo's Bingo is like you would call it like a night, and it started in Liverpool, and you get tickets to it, and it's at like a venue called Camp and Furnace in Liverpool. Mm-hmm. I think it's grown out to that venue now, maybe. But anyway, this Bongo's Bingo is like it's essentially a bingo, but it's a lot more. Basically, but like it's like there's music, and like when certain numbers come out, like a certain song plays, and there's jokes and there's prizes, and people have to get on stage and do challenges, and it's a big drunken fucking laugh, and it's really good, and it's done really well, and they've exported it to like Dubai. I went to one in I went to one in London. They were advertising for a new bingo caller, a Dubai-based bingo caller. Oh no, a London-based bingo caller for 55 grand a year.
What?
Honestly, so this Bongo's Bingo is doing really well anyway. The point I'm making is just I've gone around the houses just to say I think this is going to turn out like my own Bongo's Bingo.
If you're getting
but you should check that out. It's good.
Yeah, what do you have to do as like a bingo caller? Because have they improved? Like, have they made bingo more woke? Where it's like 2 fat ladies. Oh wait, no, can't say that anymore.
Two healthy ladies.
Two ladies who aren't judged on their looks.
Yeah. Two free ladies.
Two
maybe.
free ladies in a civil partnership. There you go.
No, but I did have, because I don't know any of those, and I find them really funny as well. Like I don't know, call it juvenile, but I think it's quite good. I like the bingo calls. Like Two Fat Ladies is the only one I can think of right now. But I had them on my screen as I was calling the numbers, and some of them I couldn't believe. It was like walk up the shop 17. It was like, where does that
walk to the shop 17?
Like, okay,
your dad left when you were 7. 4.
How big did it make you feel? 2.
I say like bingo callers, they probably have their own like. I say this like just like because there's people are really into comedy or really into dungeons. I say there's a group of people who are like bingo callers and like they've fucking tattoos on their wrist and stuff. And I'm a bingo caller.
Yeah.
They're really into it, and they all have their own calls and they have meetings about what new calls to do.
I wonder if they're just they're like calling 2 bingos at once.
Yeah.
They're like they're live in Dubai, but at the same time they're calling the numbers in London.
Or they're doing two shows a night. So one Islington, I need to shoot over to Camden. I got another one on at 10.
Well, look, we joke. We do. But there's a job going there for 55 grand a year to be a bingo caller. So the joke's on us.
Yeah.
Really.
I say bingo callers to be able to do their trade over Zoom anyway. Like your gran would be in if she knew there was a proper bingo thing going, she'd be in.
Well, this Bongo's Bingo, by the way, are doing. In fact, it might clash with this show, so I don't know whether we want to advertise it. But on the Lab Bible Facebook page, they've been doing live Bongos Bingos, and it's really good, and you can play along.
But like, I think I'm pretty sure I've played like bingo before, and it's just they call out a number, and then you just have to stroke it off your piece of paper, and then that's the game. Like, there's nothing to it. Like, what does your nan really like about it? Is it just something to do, and she meets some friends and goes home, and that's it? Is that why she likes it? Like,
I think she likes that, but I do also. She likes that because I know she's got she drives me, nan. But obviously, it's. I mean, I'm guessing it's mainly an elderly crowd, and she has a little round of women that she'll pick up and drop off before and after it. Do you know what I mean? So there's the social element to it, but I do think I can see it in her eyes. She's a gambler. She likes to gamble. No, I'm saying that a little bit tongue in cheek, but I think there is an element. There's shades of the thrill that you get from placing a bet and watching the race and seeing what happens.
Yeah. Have you thought about getting her into any like harder gambling habits?
I know, yeah. Ones that are potentially more lucrative. Yeah. I'm just worried about my inheritance. We'll either double it or nothing.
Would you rather inheritance, or would you rather see your granny become a millionaire?
Yeah, I'd rather see her become a millionaire. I'd rather see her on like the top table in like Caesar's palace.
Yeah.
In like a ball gown.
You've done. I know you sent in a clip to us, and it was I think it's called Dave, like the unluckiest dude, or something like that. Where was that?
Yeah,
when was
Barry.
that? Barry. Yeah. When was that shot?
So that clip was shot. To answer your question, that was shot last year. In like autumn last year, or like September last year. I went to this. So that clip is for a podcast called All Hail Kale. It's a BBC podcast that I was on the production team of, and one of my responsibilities was the video producing. So we produced these videos that the BBC would, disperse across all of their different channels and basically promote the podcast, which they had funded. and this one was the podcast episode was it was to do with can you think yourself unlucky, and it's basically like a wellness podcast with a cheeky slant. And this particular episode was about like can you think yourself lucky? Can you think yourself unlucky? And that was just a segment in the show with this fella called Barry. Mm-hmm. He's like 80, 81. He lives in Grimsby, and he has been billed the unluckiest man in Britain. So I went down to see him in Grimsby with my camera and everything, mm-hmm. and I did a tape sync with him. Do you know what a tape sync is?
No.
So a tape sync is so for a radio show and these days podcasts, and this is where you need a bit of budget. If you were doing an interview with someone that you can't interview face to face for whatever reason, mm-hmm. say it's because they're in another country, what you do is you find a recordist, you find an audio person in the vicinity, mm-hmm. and they go to that person's house, mm-hmm. and then you call that person and do the interview with them over mm-hmm. phone. Mm-hmm. You record your end of the phone conversation on a microphone. Mm-hmm. So you have a microphone there and you're speaking on the phone, and that other person, there's a recordist who's gone to their house or whatever, uh-huh. and is recording their voice with a mic, uh-huh. as they speak on the phone. Uh-huh. So when you piece them together, yeah, it's a conversation. It sounds good. It doesn't sound like a Zoom call, which I know is really fashionable at the moment. Yeah. But yeah, so I went to Grimsby to this Barry to do this tape sync, and then also film a bit with him. Basically like a little promotion. It acted as a promotional video for the mm-hmm. podcast episode. Mm-hmm. But this fella was hilarious. So his story was, the reason why he's been billed the unluckiest man in Britain is, this is like two years ago or so. Yeah, how did it start? So he
died or something, wasn't it?
yeah. It was just one of them. It was just one of those unlucky happenstances where you just die. Yeah. No. Basically, it involved him putting the lottery on. Basically, his numbers came in the lottery, but he only had half an hour to get to the corner shop to cash his thingy, because he only found out about his numbers like 2 weeks too late or whatever. Uh-huh. Gets on his bike to go there, gets run over, and gets taken to hospital. In the meantime, he's left the fucking chip pan on at home. The house his little flat in Grimsby is engulfed in flames. There's fire brigade round there. He's missed his £10 million lottery ticket. His flat's gone on fire. He's got a broken collarbone. It's just one of those hilarious stories.
Yeah, at least he kind of has a laugh about it, at least, which is nice.
Yeah, no, it was good. It was good.
Yeah, it's a couple of minutes long, so if Josh is not able to load it up, it's the Kale one, which would be great. You can just press play on it, and we'll jump back in a couple of minutes.
Good. Okay.
2 owls playing pool. 2 owls were playing pool, and one knocked the ball down the pocket with his wing. So the other one said, 2 hits to you. He said, 2 hits to who? You're that good. Yeah. My name is Barry, Barrie, Enderby, Enderby. Go back to September. It was a Thursday, and I've got some friends not far from here where I live, and he can't get about, he's disabled. So I said to him, Trevor, if you ever want me to pay your water bill, I'll take it on my bike. And after I'd paid it and took him his receipt, I was coming back across the road, and this car was in front of me. So I decided to go on her left, and then with that she turned left, sharp left, and I was under the wheels. Oh, it was a write-off, the bike, yeah, a write-off. It is my fault, I bought you a new bike. I said, let me get off the floor first, see how my legs are. I was more worried about my legs. And anyway, they x-rayed my legs and they said, you haven't broken anything, badly bruised, all colours of the rainbow. Give me a walking stick and some painkillers. On the Saturday, because I hadn't got the use of my bike was crushed up. I tried to get to the bookies, betting shop. I'd done the Irish lottery numbers, my 2 daughters' numbers and my 2 numbers, and I put it on 10 quid. I'd done it for the last 2 years. And to get to the bookies, because I hadn't got my bike, I tried to make it walking with a walking stick, and I was 10 minutes late getting there, and my numbers came out that Saturday night, which meant I would have got 10 grand plus. When I told my daughters, I said, Dad, what you like? It's a laugh. My friend came and said, I'm taking you out after your accident, and he took me out. I stopped out nearly all night. And when I came home, I was quite hungry, so I put a steak on and chips in the kitchen, and I fell asleep watching the telly. And the next thing was, I heard the fire engines outside. And the smoke and the flames, it was all black. Terrible sleep. I had to resort to quick measures to get out. So I have a rope in the kitchen. I was going to get on it and climb out the window. And the fireman said, no, we'll put the ladder up. Anyway, that's how they got me out. I just think, keep going, your luck will change, yeah? You will. Yeah, you'll have a win. You take your bad luck with your good luck, don't you? And I hope the good luck overrides the bad luck, which it has in my case.
So that was the unluckiest man in the world, whose luck began to change once you stayed over for a night, Anton, if you wouldn't like telling me a bit more.
And what a night it was.
I was just saying while we were off camera, we were talking about one of your main podcasts, I suppose, the Trigonometry Lads. You were here and you were videoing it and you were shooting it and you were doing the audio when it was being recorded when they were doing live shows. But now that's on Zoom and everything, they are kind of just the certain amount that just have to do themselves a little bit. But what one of the guys that does it, his name is Francis Foster. What have you kind of suggested to him with regards mic and lighting and that type of thing? Because was he just doing it on his phone for the first week, like, or what was he doing?
Well, it's just, I mean, it's not just Francis. It's most of us really, but he didn't really give much thought to like whether the camera lens is clean, or whether like his face is in complete darkness and no one can see him. It was never that bad, but yeah, it's just they've been recording interviews with guests on Zoom, and then sending me the files, and then I've been like editing them. There's not loads of editing that needs doing, unless someone says something that might get us embroiled in a lawsuit. So
what type of things would you be looking out for, I suppose? I'm thinking for myself now as well. Have I said that? And that 2 fat ladies joke earlier on, was that probably wasn't great, was it? Anything that's just generally accepted. You've got to think twice whether if anybody on the show says anything against the status quo, then you do have to think twice about it. But on a serious note, on a bit of a serious note, there has been, I mean, you'll know this, or Morgan will know this, but like on the YouTube back end, so if you're a creator and you're putting videos on YouTube, so when you log into YouTube, you're in YouTube Studio. There's been so much like sort of notification, so many notifications and stuff, alerts on there about what you can and can't say with regards to COVID-19, coronavirus, and everything, which has been really interesting. Like this period that we're in now
I mean, it's like it's the coldest hot take ever, but this is going to be remembered for a long while. And it's a really interesting time, of course it is. And that's one of the little things that I'm experiencing just from doing what I do and having to be on YouTube and log into YouTube Studio all the time. That's a really interesting part of this. That's been I've seen unfold as it's gone along. So the guidelines as to what you can and can't say about COVID-19, I've changed, and there's stuff being brought into place, and there's stuff being dropped, and new stuff being brought into place. Like, for instance, one of the rules on YouTube is something like, but not necessarily. That's what you say when you don't want to get embroiled in a court case. It's something like, but not necessarily. Like, whatever the WHO are saying about all of this, you can't say that. You know, you can't express any feelings that might conflict with that.
Oh.
And that's one of the rules. That's a rule on YouTube.
And this is the same World Health Organization that tweeted out at the start of January that there's going to be 15 million people in the US are going to die straight away.
yeah, exactly.
Like, they got the World Health Organization got stuff blatantly, completely wrong. And it's all documented in tweets, like from their official Twitter and everything like that. So there's evidence against them that they got stuff wrong. And yet we can't say that potentially stuff they're saying now might be wrong.
Yeah.
Exactly. We'll talk like this, get this pulled off YouTube.
I'm going to say
exactly.
no.
YouTube, if you're listening,
yeah.
we're just having a gentle chat.
Well,
we don't mean it.
Just so you know, YouTube, if you pull this off, more people will watch it than are seeing it now.
yeah. We'll create a PR. We'll do a PR stunt.
Yeah, that'd be funny.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not too sure about, like, thing is, there's certain things that you think that are okay for YouTube to kind of dictate and say what you can and can't put up, you know, like the obvious ones, like videos that no one wants to see or even talk about, like really terrible things. But like when it comes to kind of COVID and stuff like that, it does seem like they're being lobbied by people whose certain interest is that the World Health Organization is looked to for the correct information almost, you know.
What might them interests be, like financial in some way?
Well, say if the World Health Organization is being, like, there could be people, it could be as simple as people are getting bribed in there to say certain things, and then there's different people getting paid off. And if they are in, if there is lobby groups, say if there's lobby groups in China and US, except the ones in China have more of a sway, suddenly, like, then China has more of a sway over what YouTube does and what goes out. It's just, it's kind of like the control of information and stuff like that, and you just can't trust them a little bit. If they've been wrong before, they've shown that they're wrong, and now we're being forced to say that they're right now. It doesn't seem fair, and I'd love to see if YouTube were doing, saying you can't speak about this or you can't say that. I'd love to see their reasons, you know.
Well, that's what I was going to say to you, like, because this is something I've learned doing trigonometry. It's like, okay, so what's the argument for that? Hear out the argument. Okay, what's the counter argument? And you know what I mean? So that's what I do with everything now. And trigonometry and hanging around with Constantine and Francis, that's really taught me that. So whenever I hear anything, I wanna find out what the counter argument is to it.
Yeah.
Even if instinctively the argument that I hear initially is the one that I'm like, do you know what? I'm feeling that. That's me. I still want to know. What the counter argument is, just so I can just work out where I'm at. You know.
Do you find that when you hear a point of view and that your brain kind of is almost trained now to jump, what's the counter argument? You want to hear both sides. That's a kind of a hyper vigilant state that you seem to be walking around in. You know, or that anytime you hear an argument, you're just quickly jumping to, like, what's the other side? You know, you're kind of trained to be in that. I can't think it's the autonomic nervous system or the parasympathetic one, but you're in the kind of your slight fight or flight to be trained like that, to kind of make that jump straight away. You're in that zone where just heightened, you know, like that. And do you find if you're constantly living your life like that and you're going around like that, surely your stress is slightly higher, and even if you're having a conversation with someone, it might slightly jump to what's the other side, you know, it's just kind of a little not touch of anger, but a little touch of vigilance, rather than just kind of walking around and just, hey, that's a nice argument, all right, chat you later, good luck. You know.
Yeah, it's a good point, because that's something that I do sort of I wrestle with a little bit. Definitely. That's very insightful of you, James.
Oh,
no, but I do from time to time I do catch myself, and I'm like, just enjoy this conversation, or just feel this out for what it is, as opposed to always wanting to know, okay, so this person's saying this, so there must be a counter, where's that, and what are they saying? But you know, when you weigh things up, when you weigh it up, how I was before was a lot more detrimental to me well-being. And by that I mean, how I was before was I would hear an argument on something, or I'd be presented with an issue, a societal issue, and whatever the opinions of the people that are within the prevailing culture, like the people that you see on telly and the people that you see generally, you know, on in the media. What are they saying? Okay, well that's obviously the right thing. Then that's me as well. And then I wouldn't you know, think much more beyond that. Whereas now I've got this much more. I've got this critical way of thinking, which, I'll be honest, a lot of the time, the prevailing thought on something will be something that I'll be in agreement to that. I will be generally. I will be in the vast majority of things. But the reason I know that this new way of navigating things is so valuable to me is that there have been the odd times, there've been a little less than a handful of occasions where I've looked into the opposing argument, I've done my own reading, I've looked for my own information, I've gone, actually, well, maybe I was wrong about that, or maybe there's more to this than that. You know. Yeah. And I'm speaking I'm purposefully being really like vague. I'm not picking anything out in particular.
Yeah. Like
because we've already got the YouTube police on us. We've already compelled them to listen to us, so they're listening right now. So I don't want to get us into any more trouble.
I can actually hear YouTube banging on the door downstairs now. Shut up! Stop saying that shit.
YouTube.
This is a stupid story. There's this girl before, and she was we're at a party, and someone's hamster was doing something funny, and then she was drinking. Fair enough to her, but she did say we should ring up the people from YouTube and get them down here to video this.
As if that's what they do.
Yeah.
That would be a shit business model, wouldn't it?
Oh yeah.
Like, we're going to have this platform, and it's going to be on the internet. There's going to be an infinite amount of videos on there, but we're going to pay for, produce, and shoot, direct, and edit every single one of them. Doesn't matter what the cost is.
No, I have a dream and I want to make it big.
Yeah.
When there's one thing that I was trying to try and see where things are going in some ways. Like you see where you are, where you were, where you are, and where things will possibly go. Like, so at the moment where things are a little bit is you have people, as you were saying there, you have someone says something and then you kind of jump to the other side of the argument, you know, and you try and balance them up. And then the next stage is where both people are saying stuff and then you don't know which one to believe, so you just switch off. So if both people are coming with decent arguments and they're coming with like opposing facts or something like that, you just don't know who to believe, and then you kind of switch off. And I think that's what's happened. There was where was it? There was like this avant-garde cinema thing where they were doing a play, and it was a type of play where they kind of gave different points of view, different what people were thinking. You couldn't tell what the actual true line of the story of the play was. And Vladimir Putin's second in command or something was involved in this type of theatre when he was in university and college. So he suggested that Putin puts out good stuff and bad stuff, and then you don't know what to believe. So so he'd even fund some of his opposition. So you'd be thinking, why is he funding his opposition? So people are like, all right, the leader is funding his own opposition. All right, what do we even believe anymore? And it turns them into this kind of apathetic way. So I think that's kind of where it's heading a little bit now, where people are just they don't know what to believe, they don't know who to talk to. They just start switching off a little bit and they become apathetic because it seems kind of unwinnable. So I think that's kind of where we're headed. I don't know what the antidote to that is. It's probably like listening to Rage Against the Machine and going, "Fuck you guys."
Yeah.
But I don't really know. But I was hoping you'd have some answers, Anton.
Yeah. Well, as you know, I have. No, but like that. This makes me think about, because during all of this, you've got some time to think about where you stand on certain things and really sort of flesh out your thoughts on stuff. And I've become aware that I'm really not interested in conspiracy theories. Like, it bores me to death. Like, I'll listen, like my mates, like they're my mates and I love them. Some of them are really into them, and they'll vocalize them and they'll tell me about them, and I'll listen and I'll have a conversation with them, because I want a good conversation with my friend, and that is a good conversation area. But I'm really not interested in them. Like I don't know what it is, and I've been trying to flesh out my thoughts on why am I not interested in them? Because if you Google it, you can see there are so many articles and whatnot written about why people are interested in it, and like the neurological reasons and the sociological reasons for why people are gravitated to these conspiracy theories. But there's not much written about why you would really not be interested in them. So, and that what you've just said there about hearing opposing views and hearing opposing arguments and becoming apathetic to the whole that particular thing because of that. Maybe that's where I'm at with like this COVID-19 coronavirus. There's so people have got so many to use one of our beloved Blind Boys phrases. There are so many hot takes about this that like I've become apathetic, and now I am not well informed on this at the moment. I've got to admit, because I've become apathetic to it, because I've heard the conspiracy theories and I'm hearing the mainstream news, and both of those things combined, because I'm exposed to them in equal measures, because I live with my friends and I speak to my friends and I speak to my family every single day, but I'm also consuming the media every day. I'm exposed to both of these often opposing opinions and thoughts and arguments in equal measures, that I've got to the stage where I'm not. It's got to the stage where I am actually not consuming enough information about this now. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like I cottoned onto it the other day, and I thought, you know what? I need to. Someone said something that I forgot what it is, but it's become. They delivered it in a way where it was like, this is general. Like, this is accepted knowledge. Everyone knows this. I think it might have been. I forgot what it was, but it's something to do with the virus. And I didn't know. I hadn't heard because I'd switched off to it, and I thought, you know what? Maybe I need to start getting informed about this again.
Yeah, but where do you go? Like, if someone said the World Health Organization said this, and you're like, yeah, that sounds like a good place to get my info. It's like, no, actually, not great.
Yeah.
It's like, where do you go? And then when you don't know where to go, you have to make up your own mind on stuff. and then you can't because you don't know, you can't do your own tests, you can't learn about virus. Like, the reason that I'm not interested in conspiracy theories and stuff like that is because you have 2 points. You have the 2 points of view where it's like, oh, you have the conspiracy things that has all this evidence and this, that, and the other that points towards this one thing. Except, I can't check the evidence. I can't, even if they produce some documents, it's like, well, I can make this in Photoshop. Like, I can make it,
Yeah.
It's not like, oh, it has an ink stamp on it to prove that, it's like, what? No, it's not, like, And then even if they do like 10 different things, these are 10 bits of evidence that proves that this is this case. It's like, all right, yeah, I still don't believe it, Why would I?
Yeah.
And it's not like I believe the other side either. It's like, I don't know which ones to believe, so I just don't really care, like,
Yeah. They often involve like these massive leaps, don't they? Like, it's like, I was talking to one of my mates once. He's brilliant. He's really sharp and clever, and he's an MMA. He's a leader in the MMA scene, especially in Liverpool. But he's a big conspiracy theorist. And I remember I was talking to him one time, and he was like, "Well, obviously, mountains are just tree trunks from when there was giant trees and giants used to roam the earth." So that was the start. That was the start. That's how he opened. He opened with that. So I had to accept that.
Oh my god.
But yeah, what do you put down to the reason why you're not interested in them?
Because, well, nearly one that I wouldn't have thought of before is the big leaps that you say, and then the idea of figuring it out. So, like, even if I do figure out who shot JFK or something like that, there's loads of people that have really looked into it and really went for it, and nothing happens. Or even say the latest one, Epstein. The way he's just found, supposedly clearly choked, like clearly killed, like, or murdered.
Yeah.
It's just like, all right, there's a good bit of evidence there that supposedly says, it's like, why isn't anything done about it? Who's in charge of it? Why isn't it kind of looked at a bit? And maybe it's, even if you do figure it out, even if you do come up with the evidence, it doesn't matter. No one will even do anything, like,
Yeah. And there's also an element of, like, with a lot of these things, I think people get some comfort out of it.
Mm-hmm.
And by that I mean, like, it's sort of comforting to think, like, oh, this isn't all just a random hot mess, and everything's happening on a complete off chance, and we're just hurtling at 1 billion miles an hour through the universe, and who knows what's going to happen next. There's that, or there's the whole thing is controlled. We live inside of fucking somebody's high school locker on another universe, and everything's fine because it's all being controlled. Or maybe not everything's fine, but it's somebody on top of all this. I think there's some comfort that comes from that, isn't there?
Well, that'd be kind of like believing that someone's in control, or it's all planned out. That's kind of the belief some people have of destiny, that just go with the flow and it'll kind of look after itself, and you are where you need to be. And a lot of spiritual people kind of say that as well, like,
Yeah. Because I've been doing yoga recently, and that's something that Sarah Beth, who's my yoga instructor on YouTube, she says that a lot. You're exactly where you need to be.
Yeah. From the perspective of now, but like from the perspective of yesterday, you're not in a good place. Things are getting worse.
Yeah.
That's what they say. You're exactly where you. I think the reason yoga people say that you're exactly where you need to be, is because you don't have any choice. You better accept that, or else you're going to go mental. Like, that's what they should be saying. You're exactly where you need to be. You better believe that, because if you don't, it means you're not where you're meant to be, and that's very confusing.
Or it means you need to leave.
You need to leave
soon because
right
you're late.
now. Yeah,
because you're late for where you need to be.
Yeah, we're just after going over 9 o'clock now, man. I'm going to wrap it up, but
cool.
That went by pretty quick. I liked chatting to you a lot.
Really did.
I don't know how much people are into conspiracy theories, but given that me and you aren't, we talked about them for a while.
Classic. They find their way in. They find their way in somehow, don't they?
Yeah, we nearly got started talking about yoga. What I'm thinking about doing is there's a few of my mates who are like into yoga or fasting or like basically stuff that I'm into. And I was thinking about coming on and doing a show with them, like doing an hour long where I just talk about yoga with them, or I just talk about like intermittent fasting, and we just talk about it for a full hour and see where we go with it. I think that's just nail one topic and really kind of go into it, see if we can do it. It'd be a fun challenge. But I'll be chatting because me and you have chats all the time about that type of stuff. So we'll get you on another time and we'll dive into see if we can talk for a full hour about yoga or what you've learned in yoga in the past week.
Yeah, defo.
Cool, man. I'll catch you again soon, and hopefully you see your granny eventually.
Yeah. Hopefully, and keep doing what you're doing with all of this. I love it. It's so inspiring. I watch it all the time, and
cool, man.
Yeah, and all of this, what you're doing now, whether there's a million people watching it or just a handful of people watching it, it's all part of the rich tapestry of your life and what you get up to, and it's just as valuable as anything. I think it's really cool what you're doing.
Yeah, man. Well, it's fun to do, and that's kind of why we're doing it, and chatting to people like you as well. It's just when the time goes quick and you're talking and you're locked into conversation, it's nice to do. So definitely keep doing it. So it's always cool. I'll chat you again soon, man. Take it easy. All the best.
See you later.
Good luck.
Bye.
See you, man.
I'm looking at myself on YouTube here, Morgan. I'm after going very red again.
Again?
Yeah. I don't look like that in real life, do I? A little bit. Yeah, it comes up a very red, and maybe we can do something with the filters.
Yeah, I'll play around at some point, but I don't know. I think
it's alright. I seem happy. I'm watching it. It's about 20 seconds in the past, so I'm chatting away. It looks good.
Is this some like extra goggle box? They're watching you watch yourself back.
They're watching me. Watch me. I didn't get to many of the. I didn't get to any of the comments really. I kind of glancing down, and you were chatting to some of the people. But when I looked over, you see, I do feel when I'm chatting there, and I kind of look over, it feels like I'm ignoring when I'm chatting a little bit.
Yeah. Daniela had some great points about why we enjoy conspiracy theories.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Do
you want to read it out to you, or do you want to find it?
Yeah. What was she saying?
Deep down, conspiracy theories are about wanting to claim control and bending reality to fit a belief, instead of looking at evidence to disprove a belief, which is science.
Ooh, is that a conspiracy theory?
Don't break the system.
I don't know.
We had a system.
Deep down, conspiracy theories are all about wanting to claim control. Oh, really?
I think that makes sense. So think about the people who do it.
Yeah.
So
they're usually people who are like I suppose the stereotypical one is they're in their bedroom, they have no friends, no nothing, and they're like, looking, the world is set up against me, man. There's people controlling it, so I'm having a shit time.
It's interesting they brought up the YouTube thing, because the only reason that's come in is because of David Icke. Did a live stream saying how 5G is the cause of coronavirus.
Yeah.
By the higher powers, and it used all the COVID tags, so now YouTube has just blacklisted them.
It's so annoying how he controls what people get to say on the internet.
Even though he's all about freeing the speech as a conspiracy
theorist. He's totally locked up that speech, and he's thrown away the key on those topics.
He's done the opposite of the intention.
That's not cool. David Icke, yeah, he's on a few different podcasts. Like, that's another thing. Like, I'm not fully in the podcast world or anything like that, or the news world, or reality most of the time, to be honest. I've heard his name thrown around a few times. Even my mates back at home are mentioning him, and every time I hear him, I'm like, oh yeah, he's a prick. I think I don't know. Who was he? Was he elite?
He was a footballer.
What? He's a fucking footballer. I think he's just like politician who's doing.
No, he was a goalkeeper.
Oh, for fuck's sake! Go back and goals, David.
I mean, comments. Correct me if I'm wrong, but yeah, he was a goalkeeper, and in the 90s, he just turned on to how the Queen is a lizard. And,
Jesus Christ!
And I've listened to podcasts with him, and some of his points you're like, okay, and then they.
I've heard about some people saying lizard people, like that is a conspiracy theory, but that's like a joke conspiracy. He thinks the Queen is a lizard.
He thinks the Queen is the royalty are lizards, and that the 1% are sucking our energy out via 5G and mobile devices to create an infinite lifespan.
Do you know what's annoying?
To my knowledge, I haven't read up on this.
Do you know what's annoying now is me and you talking about this. We're only further spreading his fucking bullshit. Like,
maybe we should use a pseudonym next time.
I'd love to get him on this and chat to him and only talk about his football career.
I imagine things no one's ever done with it.
So, when do you had trials for West Ham back in 1983, David? Yes, actually. Did the fucking lizard people sort them out for you, did they? Alright, that was pretty good. There's more people chatting. 5G thing, yeah. Lethal Royal, what an excellent name. 5G thing is so funny. Yeah, 5G is spread on electromagnetic waves on through the electromagnetic spectrum, and so is Wi-Fi, and so is 4G, and so is everything like that. They're all just spread on the same wavelength, like, so it definitely can't be that. David Icke is a grifter. I don't know what grifter is. Another type of goalie is a grifter. It's like drift. No, it's not like drifter. Man, my vocabulary. I'm like the opposite of Russell Brand.
We should get him on. You could just have a speech lessons.
Yeah, he could teach me how to speak. Like
all these new shows we could have, James.
Yeah, we have a lot of different shows we could do. What do we next week? Yeah, we were chatting about Francis earlier on there. Next week, I'm thinking about we're able to do the 2 meters apart thing. If you can't work from home, you're allowed to come in. So he's going to come in. We're going to set it up 2 meters apart, and he's going to talk about something. I'm going to talk about something, and then we're going to quiz each other a little bit. So it'll be kind of like there'll be 2 people here. I'd love to get Lucilla into co-host, but I'm not too sure how to do it exactly. Like I do like when the guest is on the comments and they can kind of chat and stuff like that, or they can look at them. But if there was me, a guest, and Lucilla, that'd be a little bit tricky. I haven't fully figured it out yet. I'll give her a call tomorrow and see if we can kind of figure out how to do it, because I would like her involved. She's very popular, and everyone seemed to. I think she kind of balances out the podcast nicely. There's me kind of chatting, but then she's also nice and happy, you know.
And get you to stop talking about coronavirus.
Yeah, that is true. What do we have tomorrow? We have on archive. We have the archive. Morgan just finished editing it all up today, way ahead of time. And then we're going to do another one on Saturday as well.
Very good lineups this week. You are in Saturday's show.
I'm in Saturday's show.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
You get to see James in 2018, buff arms and big beard.
Oh my God. What was I wearing?
You look like a skater boy.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that was during the summer, yeah. Where was I? I think I came back from the gym or something, and someone hadn't shown up, and they asked me to go on. And I was literally wearing shorts, and I just went up. I remember that one,
Really?
I remember that one being recorded.
I love how all the comics we interview on like the podcast talk about being in the zone. You just walk in from the gym like, yeah, I'll do 10 minutes.
Yeah, but it's like, it's not casual at all. I'm going up, and I'm still like, right, I need to fucking nail this. It's like, it's just because I live here, and then suddenly if someone doesn't turn up, I'm around, and I want the show to go on, like, so. Yeah, that's pretty good. I'll have a read back through the comments after the show, I suppose, and yeah, we'll chat to them. But thanks a million for everyone for tuning in. We'll see you next week. I'll be back next week on Tuesday, Monday, or whatever. What are days? And then you can check out the archive as well at the weekend. Until then, if you have any ideas for the show, Ranton, send me a message at James O.D Comedy on Instagram, and if you could follow me there, that'd be cool. And if you're not already subscribed to the Angel Comedy, if you could subscribe, we need to get numbers up, or else YouTube are going to block us and they're going to shoot me or something. I don't know how YouTube works anymore. But thanks a million for tuning in, and I'll see you all again soon. Bye 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 bye.